Lord Stanley's Cup is in the house. The Avs trying not to think about drinking from it just yet. We know before the series started that they wouldn't even look at it. So the aim tonight, focus on themselves, play their game. We'll talk about changing the mood in the Broncos locker room. A lot of big smiles tonight after snapping a 5-game losing streak and a dominating second half performance. Now heading into their matchup with the Panthers, the Broncos backfield looks a little bit different than week 1. Actually, it's completely different. Not one name from the original 53-man roster is listed on the depth chart. The party, I'd say it started today, but it really started Sunday. We're just kind of, putting an exclamation point on it today. JoJo Domann is one of the pros here this year. He is a Pine Creek High grad and in May signed an NFL contract with the Colts. After putting up 11 runs on 13 hits, they leave the field with a little bit of confidence today. Coach, obviously we've tabbed them the cardiac kids. We know they have a good comeback in them. First thing, start of SEC play in Auburn this week. Pitching has been good for them all year. It's their hitting that has plagued them at times. They were held scoreless through the last 18 innings of play at the SEC tournament. Well, we're all cheering all hail Cale this morning, and that did also ring out at Ball Arena last night after Cale Makar scored the go-ahead goal for the Avs. This team keeps finding a way to win after beating up on the Preds in Game 1. They knew they'd get the best of Nashville in Game 2. The Broncos weighed their options, a number 9 and 40 pick in the draft or having a franchise QB. They went with the latter. All over Harrison High School are reminders of Fermin Villalpando. In the trophy case, in the football locker room, and in the stadium.
He was always had a plan for everything for his life. He was always, worried about everybody else, and he just had a big heart.
But on October 6, 2006, at 17 years old, his big heart gave out. Villalpando was running onto the football field during the Panthers' homecoming game when he collapsed.
I just remember them just saying that they were going to take him to the hospital.
Villalpando was pronounced dead at the hospital. His family would later learn from the coroner he had a heart condition.
What it was is that his heart had one of the arteries going into his heart was at an angle. So it just shut off, and that just took him. So that was hard.
And it's still hard for his mom, Sunday Romero, 16 years later. Those feelings now coming back after watching Buffalo Bills' Damar Hamlin suffer a cardiac arrest on Monday Night Football.
First of all, I've never seen anything like this.
Romero says she had just started watching football again this season because of how much her son loved it.
I happened to look up right when it happened, and it just, for that guy's family, I just feel for them. Because I know, and I'm glad that they were able to resuscitate that guy, but you just never know.
Sudden cardiac arrest is the #1 cause of sudden death in young athletes, with approximately 2,000 young people dying each year. But Romero's advice for parents is let your kids play, just use precaution.
I would say, if your child wants to do it, just try to be proactive with making sure they go to the doctor, stuff like that. Because football has been around forever, and you can't, it's just one of them things where you just have to trust, and pray that everything goes good, But I wouldn't stop me even knowing now.
Oh, good rep, good rep.
JoJo Domann is back at camp.
Way to touch the cone, way to touch the cone.
This pro football camp, where it all started for him.
Ooh, it was the best. It was camp week, having personal interactions with these pro athletes, and them knowing my name, them messing with me, them throwing me footballs.
Now, it's a full circle moment for the Colorado Springs native, back here as one of those pro athletes.
Now finish through.
Domann graduated from Pine Creek High School, played college ball at Nebraska, and is now a member of the Indianapolis Colts.
Good job, big fella. There's just more work to be done, right? I got to make the 53. If it's not in Indy, it'll be somewhere else. And just understand that it's a process and it's a business. So just controlling what I can control and allowing God and the universe to take care of the rest.
It's a journey that kids like Mark Zell are inspired by.
My dream is to make it into the pros and play with other good players.
And being here,
It's really fun. All the coaches, they just push us to get better.
even for those trying organized football for the first time.
I'm trying to learn how to play on a team right now because I did track and it's kind of like an individual thing. But yeah, I'm just trying to learn.
Y'all.
Doman hopes that no matter what these campers' dreams are, he can serve as an example for the next generation.
You know, just hopefully I serve as an inspiration to these kids that if whatever they want to do, they can do it. Because I was literally one of them looking up to these players every year, year after year. And then what do you know? Enough work, enough sweat, enough sacrifice and dedication.
Reporting in Colorado Springs, Jessica Gruenling, KRDO News Channel 13. Spend just a few seconds with Ralph Murdoch, and it's easy to pick up on his knowledge of his hobby.
Then you got a better view of the oil pump that keeps the engine alive. Working on cars, building cars, making motorcycles run faster, making cars run faster, you know, it's just the way it is. I love it.
Ralph grew up in Colorado Springs, getting his first taste of the Pikes Peak International Hill Climb more than 7 decades ago.
I was up there several times on the mountain with my dad when I was just a little kid and seeing the race. But back when I'm thinking about it now, you look at the cars that were running back then, were so primitive, you know, compared to what we're running today. But it's just an exciting event. It's an event of a lifetime.
And an event.
And that's when I was racing my Corvette.
Ralph didn't want to miss out on.
I ran a '63 Corvette Stingray in 1965 up Pikes Peak, and did fairly well, but not as well as I would like to have. But you know, some days you get a good break, some days you don't get a good break.
Ralph eventually did get a good break, displayed on the walls of his garage. After a 37-year hiatus, Ralph climbed back in a car in 2010 and won the hill climb the next year.
I don't remember how many cars were in that field, but there was one fellow that had been dominating that field in that vintage division for, I think, the last 3 or 4 years. He had been setting the mark, and I came along and unloaded his mark, you know.
Ralph will be leaving his mark this year.
You never get the desire out. You know, it's always there. 40 to 60 PSI oil pressure.
In just a few days, Ralph will be racing into the clouds in this car.
This is a 91 Camaro. It's like a NASCAR chassis. It's set up really well. Got all the bells and whistles and adjustments and everything to make it work good.
It's his son's, but with it being the 100th anniversary, it only seemed fitting Ralph would jump into the driver's seat. We asked him how he felt about being the oldest driver in the field.
I think that's kind of awesome. Yeah, I'm just thankful that I am and that I can. Yeah, I've got a lot of friends that are like my age and stuff like that, and they look at me like, you're nuts. You know, but no, I enjoy it. It's a feat to do.